Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Saturday night, ready to do some feedback. That's where we talk about the things you had to say, about the things that we had to say throughout the week. The official weapon of the show is
Taser.
The unofficial sport,
Bullet ball.
and bullet ball extreme. And of course, the show notes is where you find all the way to leave feedback. And the website, theblackouttips.com, you can leave comments there, all that type of stuff. And of course, we love all of you, but the people we love the most are the ones that give us the motherfucking coins. Okay.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Tips.
That's right. New day, new pay. Let's talk about this money. Preston, Team Dro, Slang of Ages podcast. Hits us with that recurring donation. Tracy J, Dostra J, no relation. Celeste Vaughn B, Mariano, Monica T, Tyrone M, Jason F, Waste Bees Basura, Michael, the playmaker Michael Irvin, Jasmine A, Sarah B, Mary H, Deborah O, Michael F, Allison H, Stefan H, a lot of H's, and lastly, Jonathan W. Thank you, everybody that took the time to reach into your bag and your purses and your wallets and put a little something in the plate. Thank you. All right, let's talk about 5-star reviews. We got some. I forgot last time we did the show on like a Friday, so we got some reviews I think I haven't read yet that possibly could be from last Thursday.
Okay.
Stop me if we read this on these before, but
It don't matter.
I don't think we did. Best House of the Dragon recaps. This is from Sarah Caitlin from the United States of America. She says, I listen to all the recap podcasts for House of Dragon, and this by far is my absolute favorite. Rod and Karen make me laugh out loud every single episode. It's the one recap podcast I'm constantly refreshing for to see if it is available. Keep it up, friends. You're great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate it, and I'm glad to, there's a lot of people doing these recaps. And I'm glad anytime says we're one of their favorites, because that means that they are getting that we're doing something special and different.
Agreed.
Illy the Goat from Canada leaves us this 5-star review, which with the exchange rate I believe is a 6-star review.
Oh shit now.
Wow, I love this podcast. Started listening early in the pandemic. Yes, it took me this long to write a review. Karen, feel free to shame me, but in my defense, with a C, because I'm from Canada, I didn't know I would survive this long. Who knew vaccines save lives? I have to say, I love you guys, Rod. I love the way you force me to think deeper rather than settle on what is acceptable by the mainstream. You have a way of framing things to make sense. Often I can't find the words to express my opinion, and then I hear you express what I was trying to say effortlessly. Many times I'll be in conversation with someone trying to explain why this or that, and then I listen to the podcast and I'm like, why didn't I say it like that? Please keep sharing your thoughts. It's necessary and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. And just so you know, this is my motto. Once you have left a 5-star review, you have the right to judge other people. Anytime you left a 5-star review is right on time. It don't matter. You on time. And so now you can fold your arm and judge the other people who have not left us a 5-star review yet.
Yeah. And like I said, thank you. Because the thing for our show is I'm never trying to be a contrarian. I actually find that to be a bit cliche and whack. You've all listened to these shows sometimes where it's like, you already know this person's gonna say the opposite of what everybody's thinking because they get off on being opposite of everybody all the time, and they think that makes them smart. When a lot of times people like a lot of times it is the majority of people that are right, just because people can't be wrong about everything all the time.
Right.
But I think the difference in how we arrive to certain conclusions, the difference in thought processes. I know I think a lot, overthink sometimes, but I think that's what makes us unique, and I'm glad people appreciate that, because I think a lot of times I'm articulating shit that other people feel, but it's just not necessarily framed that way. Or most people who aren't overthinkers just go, man, fuck y'all, I already think what I think, leave me alone. And I'm the one like, okay, so here's how I got here, right? All right, anyway, now Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, I love the passion. Can I say the ad libs? The ad libs, they come without warning, and I could be at work outside walking down the street. The next thing I know, I'm falling down in laughter. In episode 2623, we're talking about the made up Antifa spraying a Trump supporter house and burning his cars. You said, what did they spray paint? What, Jive Turkey? And then talking about disparity in internet speeds between different neighborhoods in the same episode, you mentioned AOL disk. Man, I thought it was over, and then the chef's kiss moment. Obama Boulevard is the new MLK Boulevard. Thank goodness I wasn't holding my phone at the time, because I'm not a Spotify member yet, so I need the money, and I can't just buy a new phone. Both of you guys are amazing. I admire how comfortable you are showing your love for each other. I hope all your dreams are realized, and there's a random black dude in Toronto that appreciates you and only wants the best for you. Love you guys, Illy.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Thank you, Illy, the goat.
Mm-hmm.
That was very sweet. Canadians, they just be coming through.
Yes, Canadians.
And lastly, Sid Vicious 5 says, new Apple ID, new review.
Come on through.
This is truly my favorite podcast. Y'all deserve all the accolades and praise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. I love starting off with new 5-star reviews. It's like, oh, let's go. Let's talk about some podcasting. All right. So we only did 3 episodes this week. We had 26 team daycare. We had 9 comments.
Ooh, y'all had something to say.
9 comments.
What are we talking about?
Let's go to it. It's a feedback show. Appia says, Rod, I didn't even think about it, but it's true. When I was really depressed and I couldn't sleep, I had the body lots of people envied me for. So many people asked me what my secret was. I got so many compliments. The secret was being so anxious and depressed that every day was a struggle. Right. Yes, but I looked like a model. Now I remember I thought for the first time in my life at that time that I would gladly take 15 kg, 31 pounds or whatever. Plus it meant stop feeling if it meant to stop feeling so bad. Right. I also remember that before that, people, also remote family members, love to tell me I'm pretty, but I would be really beautiful if I could make money with my looks if I lost 20 pounds. Ooh. While I was in law school to learn stuff that will make a living eventually. I never expressed any intention in using my looks for money, but people told me this shit anyway. Angel comes and replies and says, I feel that too. I'm currently dealing with a stomach issue that for the last couple of months, I've lost like 30 pounds so far dealing with it. And it scares me. Family members tell me I should take it as a positive because I'm losing post baby weight a couple of years later. Like I would never want anyone to go through what I'm going through, but it's hard to get through a day without stomach pains and stuff. Yeah, I think once again, we do a lot of judging by the surface. A lot of this shit is more complicated than people would like to admit. I think people that really like are in these spaces all the time have come to a place of like simplicity, where like there's no gray areas. Everyone should have a hierarchy. These people's feelings go first. These people are allowed to have feelings. These people are not. And no one cares about anybody else's mental health, right, what they're going through. And I just think it's one of the reasons I find the spaces to be unproductive and mean and stuff. Mm-hmm. And judging people by their looks, I think is just it's the opposite message of body acceptance to me, is to go, well, clearly your body looks what we would like to call normal. So you don't have any issues, or you're not allowed to feel a way about your issues and stuff like that. And I think if we're going to talk about the mentality of fat phobia and all this and body acceptance and stuff, then we have to, if you're going to talk about it, then you have to talk about it by erasing the stigmas that come with all the bodies. You can't, somebody can be picked on their whole life because they're skinny. It doesn't necessarily mean they've had it the same, but that is a tough thing because people attack and difference and they attach things to difference. And even a lot of people who fall within the spectrum of what we consider to look normal on the outside are going through it on the inside. Some of that's the reason they look quote unquote normal. is because they're so full of this anxiety and fear about their body and their perception. And it's one of the reasons you see people glom on the fat people that are just living their life like it's like, how brave of you. And what they really mean is, in a world where I can't handle the admonishment myself, this person can handle it, and they're just living their life being themselves. Even if there's nothing quote unquote brave about it, it should be normal. You have to be brave now,
Right. And it's also one of those things where because I have a cousin like this. There are a lot of people that are really, really skinny, and they almost have the opposite. Sometimes people tell them that you to gain weight, you look sickly. So this is somebody who they go, well, this is just my body, and people tell them the quote unquote the opposite of it. So it's like you can't win. It's like, regardless of which spectrum you fall on, somebody's always going to have something to say.
And the main thing it reminds me of is just, like I said, Conflict is Not Abuse. It's a great book because it's so par for the course that people that talk to folks like that come at you that hard, often are people that can't take it back. They can't take any level of disagreement back. They can't take any level of you saying, I'm standing up for myself. It has to be an attack of them on some type, or it has to be like, well, then we won't exist in the same space. It has to be some level of that. And that's something I've tried to rid my life of, where it's like, sometimes I don't agree with people, and if it's literally not the end of the world type of shit, like we just off by degrees, not off by like complete mentality, I can just be like, all right, well, maybe you'll come around, maybe I'll come around, maybe we'll never come around, but I can coexist with you because I know you've thought about this and you just don't agree. It's different to me than thoughtless people or mean people or whatever. But
right.
And then even with what I said, that was the PG version of what I said technically, because I honestly was very upset when I first read that shit. Abia says, so we agree about Kanye. It's a mismatch. I don't want to bring this up to so crass, but if mass shootings happen, we wouldn't like it if people went to, he was clearly mentally ill. How sad for him, as they sometimes do. First of all, though, I don't know if you're saying that about our show, but I do believe that. Like, I think you have to be mentally ill to go shoot up a fucking classroom of kids. It doesn't excuse anything. And it's the same thing I said with Kanye. You're responsible for your mental health.
Yeah, and both can exist.
Yeah, so like, I think it's this false like ultimatum thing that people get into, where it's like, well, when we don't want, like, here's what it is. People view mental health issues with pity.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that I'm saying that I don't think pity is something people can handle. I'm not sure even people want it, like that's not the same as empathy. It's pity. Poor you, right? And I think because most of us look at it that way, we don't want to grant pity to someone we don't like, or someone who does something we don't like. So then we have to go backwards. We work backwards from, I don't like this and I don't like this person and what they did, to this way of going, and that means their mental illness doesn't count, or it's not real, or mental illness comes with rails and lines and boxes that it never crosses, which doesn't make any fucking sense, really. Like, but we say that because we would like to be able to admonish them and not feel pity or empathy or sadness for them. The truth is, it's probably somewhere in the middle, where it's like, you can have a mental health struggle, and that is part of what leads you to get a gun and do something that even people that have guns who don't have these same issues would not have done.
Right.
And America's problem is that we're willing to give a gun to somebody who's mentally ill and go, oh, well,
right,
we just gonna live with the consequences of this. But just because they shot up the school doesn't mean that they didn't have a mental health issue. If anything, that's the indication that they definitely do. There's as many guns there in America. The one shooting up the school definitely got something wrong with them. I bet Alex Jones has some mental problems too. I can only see him as a piece of shit. I've also dealt with depression and was in therapy, by the way. So all I can say is that it's complicated. I've never heard about Alex Jones' mental health issues. I also wouldn't necessarily doubt that he has some issues, but I think that's different than Kanye, just because Kanye's, we absolutely know.
Right.
Like, this isn't working backwards. Like, that's what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not doing the, like, man, I really like Kanye. I don't want to say that he's saying dangerous things. No, we've said them all. It's dangerous what he's saying. He should not be given a platform. He is not taking care of his mental health, and that makes him responsible no matter no matter what comes out of his mouth because of his manic episodes. It doesn't mean, I don't know that he means them or not. It just doesn't matter because you're not doing the things that it takes to keep yourself from being in that situation, So I think, and the other thing that I think people don't say, or we haven't said enough, or I haven't said enough, he was saying asshole shit before the mental health stuff. It just wasn't this.
Right.
This is almost the opposite of what he used to say. But when he was medicated and before his diagnosis got too bad, he used to say misogynistic shit all the time. He used to say a lot of classist stuff. Like, it's not like he was a good person and then his mental health. Like, it's just that when he's worshiping Hitler and shit, that sounds like the behavior of somebody. That not just sounds like, that is the behavior that he has said he's engaged in. Once he's like, I'm not taking my meds anymore, it makes me not as creative. What I also find interesting is that I agree with your opinion more than with the opinion of any other media. How interesting with your growing up in the sad world of Fahrenheit, which turned out the coolest. Yeah, it was the coolest. Ironically. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how the world brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
Appia says one more thing. You say you love Fahrenheit. I thought we were gonna drop this, Appia. I told you stop writing in about this. We were done. Why are we doing this at this point? It's over. But yeah, you say you love Fahrenheit because the numbers seem bigger. Okay, so give up the inches and feet for starters. I wouldn't mind giving up inches and feet. So this is not an argument that you can, like, we on the same page. I love for America to switch to centimeters. I think inches and feet and yards make no fucking sense.
Nope, you always have to do a goddamn calculation for it.
This seems extremely random, and also intervals of 100 work better for a lot of measuring. So we're already on the same page. In centimeters, I'm 176 tall, 5'9", and a bit of something. The first sounds way taller. A 7-inch penis would be almost 18 centimeters. Would you like your penis to be 7 something long or 18? Exactly. Unless your penis is already 18 inches, but this sounds painful. Well, we all have to deal with our burdens. Happier. That's why I heard that even in America, people say a 5K run. Also, being able to say 5 sounds better than 3.1. We agree. Sean says, shit, I think that I remember that 12 episode about the handcuffed kid. That was from the before times. I think that episode may have been the first time I heard your voice. Time does fly. Tone from the group home says, apparently we'll mess with some Dixie. They have sprinkled all these Dixie queens, no relation, all over the Memphis area. Some in the same hood as churches. Every review I love every review I love refers to the goodness of their wings. I found myself in the drive-thru but couldn't do it. Oh yeah, Dixie wings. I don't know. I had not heard of them. What is it called? Dixie Queens. Okay. Mike says, nice to see that after all the weeks of temperature debate, someone finally mentioned Kelvin, the system that scientists actually use. I'd write a lengthy explanation of why it's better than both Celsius and Fahrenheit, but instead I'm going to go out and enjoy the lovely 294K weather.
Yes.
Sean says, because Sean can't help himself. I like Kelvin, Celsius plus 273.15, but it's kind of like me using the hex code for the color of Rod's hat in this week's logo, 69454BB. Sure, it's more accurate, but there are very few of us who could understand what you're talking about.
What's happening here?
Huh?
I said BB. I said big baller.
Oh, no, I don't think so. You'd be surprised how few people use hex code to talk about colors. Just say that Rod's wearing a blue violet hat in the image and that you are enjoying 21-degree weather or 69.5-degree weather, depending on if you are in the rest of the world or the U.S. and not taking a science class in the U.S. where you will have to use Celsius and or Kelvin. Listen, it's kind of like Android and Apple. Yes, Android is empirically the better system and used by more people, but in the US and Japan, a lot of people prefer to use the lesser platform. I don't care if you're listening to an indoor podcast or an outdoor podcast. Okay, love who you want to love, live how you want to live, do whatever you need to do. Can't we all just get along?
That's how I feel. Okay, we all just get along.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think Android probably is better, but Apple shit's simpler. And not everybody want to be a genius when they're using their phone. Sometimes you just want to click on the app and have it be intuitive.
I'm sorry, I don't want to learn code. I'm good, homie.
Yeah, and I'm not even gonna get into y'all's Android store bullshit because y'all know that's bullshit. Don't even try it. Apple would never. Vet your apps. I'd rather have too few apps, but they work, than I download some shit and now some nigga got my credit card in fucking Cambodia. Anyway, Poe, who you with? Team daycare, team kids? Remember the daycare workers scared the kids? Karen?
Oh, me, team kids. Don't be
team kids, even though the title episode was team daycare, according to Karen. 72% of people said team kids. 28% said team daycare. Let me check the YouTube comments and see what they said. I forgot to check these. Okay. Kyra Moons 1 says, oh man, my podcast app killing me in the feedback. To the airline news, I said, oh no, they taking away first class on international flights. How am I going to feel safe as a black woman flying to the motherland in less than first class? Dr. Hadassah voice, see, American Airlines means America, which don't believe in protecting us black queens. And a plane is also called an Airbus. They want us to sit in the back, y'all. That is so good, Carrie Moon. Lily Sweet 098 says, who got Rod heated? Come outside, we just want to talk. Angry face emoji. I'm upset that you had to respond to that person and giving them that much energy. Fuck trolls. Never fail to be assholes. Shake my head. That train is never late. Keep doing what you're doing, Rod. We the people who don't troll for attention, appreciate and support you and Karen. Yeah, you know what, man? I legitimately think that person meant what they said. I think they were upset by just, the fact that I'm not like fully on board with like the movement of the like body positivity movement online, even though in my opinion, I don't come on here and express a whole lot of fat phobia and shaming and shit. I try to stay away from people's bodies in general. With anything less than a compliment. It's just, it is what it is. I'm human. I'm doing this show 200 something times a year. Occasionally someone's not going to like something, and that person did eventually unsubscribe to the premium and stuff like that, and that's their right. Like I'm not even mad at it. It's just it happens. It's part of doing the show. And the only response a lot of times that people like that will take is like, you're right, I'm wrong, I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
Right. And if you don't get them that answer,
and I've done too much work on myself to disrespect myself by saying something I don't believe. Like, I'd rather deal with the consequences of you not fucking with us than to sit up here and pander and lie and to act like I agree with something I actually don't really agree with when it comes to the way people be moving. But the general sentiment, I think I've expressed many positive things and many things that go right in line. Just because I won't go to the precipice of I gotta be mad at Taylor Swift, I'm sorry, you just gonna have to deal with that. Not the first person that got hung up on Taylor Swift around me, and it's just like, well, that's fine. I'm also not gonna be mad at like Chris Pratt and shit. I don't like doing that celebrity pile on bullshit. There's too many people that already readily put themselves out and want to be problematic and say fuck you, and they don't mean well. There's so many people like that. I'd rather just point them out than to try to make something out of what I feel to be nothing. But yeah, and honestly, I was happy to have a space and like our show to be able to talk about my thoughts in depth about it, because I think if there's anyone else who feels that way, or if there's anyone else who's just wonder what I thought about it, or how, because I think there's also this thing of, I see you as a fat person, you must contribute to this conversation. It's a different form of respectability, and it's like, okay, well, here's what I think, so now everybody knows. And 0 other people wrote in about it. 0 other people have ever raised that issue with me. I tend to feel like other people, if they would have had an issue, could have written in, and it wasn't even just about writing in. It was literally just the tone of it. It's always weird because people in those spaces believe in like you can't tone police me, but then you say anything back and they flip the fuck out because you got to say it nice.
Right.
And it's just like, I'm not going to try to be personal with somebody like that. I wouldn't come at you but I don't need to be nice about it. I'm standing my ground the same way, you stood yours. And I think the last thing I'll say about it too is like, it's a reminder that access to me is a privilege.
Yes, it is.
Like we don't owe anybody anything. And so, it's like, I had that moment of like being kind of shocked that someone would write in something that I felt to be so scathing and out some of it to be outright like about shit I never said and would never say.
Correct.
And I reached out because I said, this name seems familiar. We're friends on Facebook. What is this about? And I reached out to this person, and I think it was a reminder like, oh, I don't even really need to do that. Fuck it. Like, they said what they said. Me trying to be reasonable was a waste of time, because at the end of the day, that the same person could be like, fuck you, unsubscribe, and that's all I am to that person.
Right.
All this I love you shit. How you love somebody you don't know them? You know what I mean? Like, it's just another manipulation tactic. So it's like, all right, then cool. Let's move on. Chocolate Lady Cap says, I just recently found you guys and I'm happy I did. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
On Anchor, the poll, 61% was teen kids, 39% teen daycare, which is a lot higher. It's only 28% on the website. And so the comment was toes before hoes. Shay says, okay, but what's a pimp with no toes? Jane says that Pretty Tony said that, the Mac. Ernest says the toes on the hoes are what make the murders go. That's good. Maybe that's gonna be the strong house motto now. Shout out to Laris, says Carrie. Chaos is a footstool. Strong for the poll. As a parent, I voted team kids, but just know I fully understand team daycare's position. Bisola says, I don't want to choose. I want to be a hoe with all my toes. LOL, I see myself out. Typhlosion says, souls before hoes. And Keisha says, yes, because I like wearing comfy shoes. All right, the next episode was You Never Go Full Holocaust. This is when we had DJ Ben Amin from the For All Nerds podcast.
Fun show.
Very fun show. Ramsey D. Jenkins says, this episode is another example why I keep coming back. DJ Ben Amin must come by and visit more often. 5 stars. Sean says, Black Adam won't be released until December 2nd here, but I wasn't planning on seeing it. With the Steven Seagal clause in the Rock's contract, the general quality of the Snyder adjacent DC films, not directed by James Gunn, I was not interested. However, your conversation made me genuinely interested for the first time. It is officially moved from a might see it on streaming to probably see it streaming and might see it in theaters, and I blame you. I don't know. Don't blame me. Enjoy it if you enjoy it. If not, you know what you're getting. Miss Barnes says Galvatron had the coldest line in the movie. Coronation, Starscream. This is bad comedy. Blood Ale. He presented to disintegrate a nigga. The rest of the Decepticons are looking at the ashes like, sorry to this man. Yes, and then
sorry to this man.
And then the crown falls down the steps under his foot, and I believe he crushed it by stepping on it.
He did.
That shit was so gangster. Shout out to Leonard Nimoy, rest in peace. I love that that movie too much. I just dust off the CD player, pop some popcorn, and relive Prime dying and the shock of hearing my favorite Autobots and Decepticons cussing. Yes. Evie says, I have a feeling that when the blue check mark policy goes into effect, unless someone is a huge celebrity, people with blue check marks are going to be clowned for paying for blue check marks. I agree. Let the comedy ensue. Twitter is about to go the way of MySpace. That's what I'm saying. Even if I wanted to pay for my check mark just out of being like, you know what, man, I really like my check mark.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the features.
Yeah, I have special. There's like Twitter Blue gives you special. Like I can edit my tweets and stuff. It's only like $3 a month. But if they told me it was contingent on keeping my check mark, well, now you just made me look like the nerd in the lunchroom in the cafeteria to everybody. Everybody know my mama packed my lunch. You see what I'm saying? Like everybody now knows whatever embarrassing thing that you're like, I wish people didn't know that. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Elon Musk just don't understand.
No, he don't. Mm-mm.
Trey says, you got the touch. You got the power. Rest in peace, Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of that is, yeah. And that's Stan Bush that made that song. I remember I got to interview Stan Bush with my man Jamal from the Cold Slither podcast, which is like such a weird, nerdy dream come true kind of moment. Like that's how much I stand for that movie. Is like it made my day, it made my week to talk to Stan Bush. And just we interviewed him about it. And to be honest, like it's probably, I'm not saying he's like a MAGA type dude or anything, but like you had that moment of like, I wonder if how conservative this man is. You know what? Let's not ask him too many questions about politics.
Nope.
Let's stick
to the rivers and the lakes that we use.
Yeah. Let's just stay away from that. And that's really what happened. Like I forget what answer he's like, some answer, and I just remember being like, oh, let's not ask him about Kaepernick. Let's just keep it to cartoons. Anyway, the poll was, are you back to working in person?
I am not.
Yes, I never stopped working in person. I ain't got no job. Or nope, still working remote.
Nope, still working remote.
33% of people have returned to working in person.
Yeah, I can see that.
35% never stopped working in person.
I can see that too. Tough, baby.
4% ain't got no job.
I hope you get a job soon, baby.
And 27% are nope, still working from home. Which shout out to the 27%. That's difficult right now.
For some people, it's permanent. And then some people, like somebody was saying, they hybrid.
Yeah.
And for some people, hybrid work. For some people, hybrid don't. And then you also have it where for some people, they like, I'm only looking for jobs remotely. Like I don't want to go back into the office. So, employees have choices now, and employers are trying to adjust to that.
Episode 2623, the new MLK Boulevard. Also, we got comments on I'm sorry, wait. You never go full Holocaust is what we're on. Right. Oh shit. Did I not put this episode up? Where am I at? Oh, I scrolled down too far. All right, boom. We got comments on YouTube. Let me check those. Trisha Ann says, not gonna lie, that all-star review of House of the Dragon was flames. Yes.
We had a great time.
For all nerds, check out our appearance on there. If you like our House of the Dragon recaps, you'll enjoy this. As Black people talking House of the Dragons. It's always a fun time over there. Our girl Janisha from Tea with Queen and Jay was on there with us. Obviously, Tati and Ben. We got introduced to like a new person. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, and I don't want to say it wrong because I remember I said it wrong during the show.
Right.
But it was fun. We had such a good black ass time. I promise you, if you like our House of the Dragon recaps, for all nerds, the all-star review for House of the Dragon. White Label American Podcast says, man, I wasn't taking chances, so I already got my Wakanda Forever tickets about almost a month ago, and it's into the same time as the Crown Wakanda is happening. Immediately I saw DJ Ben Amin post about it. I was like, dang it, but I immediately shared with everyone nearby, so I'll be represented. Did I tell you that Ben Amin hooked me up with one of the dopest stickers of all time at Comic-Con? Himself and Tatiana are good people, and out of Wakanda Forever, I won't offer to get anyone to Africa via NFT until December. Thank you. Because you hate to see when people rip off their own people. So good for you, man, for taking a break. Chocolate Lady Cap says, I listen to all y'all great. Safa Anime says, I really enjoyed this, and I did catch the all-star episode for House of the Dragons. Y'all got me subscribed to another damn podcast, but I'm not mad. I did start watching the interview with a vampire, so I'm ready for your guest podcast start when he starts reviewing it. As always, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. And
on Anchor, the poll, 30% people said yes, they are back to working in person. 37% of people said they never stopped. 6% ain't got no job. and 27% working remote still.
Mhm.
About to say.
Yeah, I hope the people that ain't got no job and looking, I hope you find a job. And I mean that.
Mm-hmm. And I do too, guys. Don't let Karen just say it by herself. It's also me. We got the Q&A is Optimus. No. Miss Barnes says, man, 30 plus years later, we still salty. Fuck Rodimus. Now see, that's where you get it wrong. Because it wasn't Rodimus' fault. Now, if you want to say fuck somebody, fuck Ultra Magnus, you know. But Rodimus saved the goddamn galaxy when he opened up the Matrix inside of Unicron. And nobody wants to talk about that. Y'all treat him like motherfucking Obama in that brown suit. Show some goddamn respect. Carrie says, not an advocate for murder, but I feel like all the bodies Optimus caught were justified. Maybe I am a murder advocate. Maybe you are. Sandy says, my prayers are with all the late 40s and 50s year old men who needed therapy after Optimus. My husband is watching the new one on Netflix and still talks about his death to this day. It's a group traumatizing. That's our January 6th.
It's traumatizing.
Raphael says that Optimus death was one of my first traumatic kid moments. Watching the VHS back in NG, I saw DJ Ben Ami and Tatiana at New York Comic Con right after y'all had just discussed Wakanda Forever trailer. Cool people. Jane says in Karen's voice, oh no. And Chris Chacon says, found a new James Baldwin essay today that I want to recommend. Nothing personal. Autobots roll out. All right, thank you for the James. That was our James Baldwin recommendation of the week segment, the brand new segment.
Did Randolph write that in?
Right. Yeah. Were you sipping on some brown when you was reading it?
Right.
The last episode of the week is with Dr. Ray Wynn Grant, first time guest. Everybody loved her.
So much fun.
We got 8 comments. Let's get into them. Appia says, what a charming guest. I'm glad no one suggested grab your phone and record video of your life or death when you see a bear.
Yes.
I think I would be rather helpful in an apocalypse because I grew up poor. I know that you can eat in a forest and what you can eat in the forest, and I'm tall and strong, but I'm also happy never to have to find out if I'm right.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Ramsey says this episode was so informative and Dr. Ray is wonderful. 5 stars. Ernest says great show as always. The hits just keep on coming. And hits is in parentheses. Sean says, you and your smart guest, I'm going to have to up my walking time with all the new podcasts you're introducing me to. You're welcome, buddy. Mm-hmm. Bad Biscuit says, this is one of my favorite episodes.
Oh,
I just love hearing about her adventures as a Black scientist. Your podcast inspires me and pushes me to continually explore my dreams and pursue goals and be creative. Thank you for having her on. Thank you so much for another great episode, Karen and Rod. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trey says, Dr. Ray Wynn Grant was such a fun and informative guest. Thanks for having her on, Rod and Karen. Peace. Sim says, I loved Dr. Ray Wynn Grant as a guest, but when she talked about the tree leeches, I got the creeps and got up and took another shower. I have locks and I'm always scared that a spider will land on my head without me knowing. And the snake in her tent, this is why I will never go camping in a tent again. I am sharing the bear advice with everyone. Great guest, great show as always. Love y'all, Simone. Yeah, it is funny that like the advocates for people going outside, they can't help but share the stories that keep people from going outside. You know, they don't mean to because it's just like another adventure and it's normalized to them and maybe they don't feel like it's that dangerous. But to me, I'm like, a cobra was in your tent. All right.
And a cobra that spits at your eyes.
And then she's like, yep. And that's why we need to go to Black People in a Tent in the Woods.com. We need to get out here. I'm like, didn't you just say? But you just said. Anyway, I loved it. She was such a great guest.
Fun, so much fun.
We had comments on the YouTube as well. Infinity C says, love y'all's conversation. Dr. Wynn Grant, so amazing that what we can learn about animals and realize at the end of the day, they don't want to be fucked with either.
Right.
What a surprise.
Right. They minding their business. We scare them. They're like, who the fuck is this? And then they attack.
I know my black ass would be barefoot the second I'm in the woods. It's all right though. I've accepted my fate. If that ever would have happened, at least I know that dinner will be well seasoned. Yeah, that's the last thing we need. Black people go into the woods and then the bears find out we delicious.
All right.
Like, you know what? They put their foot in this foot.
You know what? Dog meat is better.
Yeah. Pass me another one of them blacks. What this got some cocoa butter on it? Kane's Galaxy says great show. Saf,
Like they all fat and greasy. I like this.
Saf anime. Listen, I don't think. Okay, I think that's fat phobic. Okay, Karen. People can't be fat and delicious. Fat people probably taste terrible, and that's the only way to talk about it. And we will be getting letters because you said that. Saf and I'm just kidding.
I am my name is Karen, and I am apologizing for my statement that I have just read. I would like to say I do not condone nor say that it's okay, and I have been informed that my choice of words are offensive, and I have this is my apology.
Wow.
Now back to the show.
Look at you learning to get out of the emails. I never thought I'd see the day. Sav Anime says, I love this. I immediately went to her podcast and followed. I envy my son and his cousins. They have so many opportunities to see us in spaces that only white people seem to occupy when I was younger. The whole time the doctor was talking of her adventures, I was envious until she started talking about those tree slugs. My eyes rolled back in my head and my body swayed a little bit. She had me scratching my head all of a sudden. No, thank you. Thanks to the doctor for all that she does. She's a real one as usual. Keep with the good work. Mm-hmm. And Harmon says, hey, I love this show. It's very informative. Now I can add another podcast to my very short list. Thanks. Dion says, I already listened on Stitcher, but I had to come to YouTube to leave a comment on how much I love this episode. Oh. First of all, you the one still listening to Stitcher? Good for you. Mm-hmm. I'll be wondering where them one listens come from.
Right, because I used to love Stitcher. They made some changes. I was like, I gotta go.
I found it very interesting and enjoyed hearing about Dr. Wynn Grant's childhood influences. Much like herself, guys like Steve Irwin had a big impact on my career goals, and I majored in marine biology for a time. I switched to chemistry after my first field assignment, but I still enjoy aspects of marine science as a hobby. Yeah, it get real in the field. It probably was like, oh, I got to be out here. It's cold or whatever. I'm good. Today, I'm a cancer immunologist, and I'm so glad that she came on to encourage other Black people to move into these spaces you don't commonly see us. I hope she comes back to share some stories with us. Thank you, Rod and Karen.
Thank you. And what you're doing sounds very complex, too. I guess hear that, cancer.
Thank you. White Label American Podcast says, had to come see Rod and Karen's faces at the Spitting Cobras in the tree, same as my tree leeches. Quick story about the Spitting Cobra. When I was 17 back in Ibadan, Nigeria, a classmate ran into one. He was wearing a gold wristwatch, so he received one dose in his eye. And when he raised his hands to his face screaming, his watch must have reflected or caught the sunlight. So by the time the cobra left him, it was covered with lots of venom. Only one time did his eye get bloody. Only one eye was hit. He said he was in pain for a long time. Plus, we didn't have access to the best healthcare too. So a few weeks after that boy got one eye spat on, I would run into what I thought was a spitting cobra around the same area where he got attacked. I was with my high school crush. Let's just say that I hid behind her before running away and dragging her too. According to one report, this is why you should buy the Spitting Cobra NFT. I thought you was giving it up till December.
Nope.
Can't trust this brthen as far as you can throw.
That didn't last long, did it?
Not at all. Great episode, guys. I'm definitely sending my kid camping. And then that was all the comments on YouTube for this week. And then on Anchor, the poll was, have you gone camping? As it was on the website. Yes. Have you gone camping? Yes, and I'm Black. Yes, and I'm not Black. Or nope.
No.
51% of my audience. Yes, and I'm Black. They have gone camping. So that defeats that stereotype. Yes, and I'm not Black. 16%. And then nope. 33%. Not bad. And then on Spotify, 43%. Yes, and I'm Black. Yes, and I'm not Black. Just 5%. And 53% said nope. So there's a lot more nopes. Probably because they're rich. They don't want to deal with the luxuries. They got the money.
And if they go camping, they're going to be buying tents like Earn. It's going to be 12 unpacked in that bitch.
I don't think they would go. I think they go camping at hotels. They're like, this is a fine Marriott outside of the city.
That's my type of camping.
We're roughing it this week. It's only a bed and breakfast.
I know, not a buffet. We just have to eat the bagels.
And then you say you're outside, but you ain't that outside was a comment. And damn, 16? Zinzi says outside ain't all that. Shay says rent too high to be outside. Miss Barnes says mosquitoes will say a prayer before eating my fat ass. Renee, well, Miss Barnes, you need to apologize. You said the word
no,
fat.
you don't.
You are canceled.
No,
Do
you
not
don't.
write
You
up here
do
with
not
that
need to
fat phobic
apologize.
stuff.
You are good.
The word
baby.
fat is the same as nigga.
No,
Renee says
no, it is not.
that's what I heard, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Nope.
Renee says, and after this episode, I plan to keep it that way. Can_Nicole says, I've been backyard camping on a fifth grade weekend trip to Wesley Woods with cabins. I learned about the dangerous, safe plants, insects, animals around me in school. Carrie says, I love this episode. Dr. Ray was a great guest, and I'll definitely be binging through her podcast soon. Keep the fire guests coming, y'all. Aaron says, nigga, what you doing out there in the woods, Karen? Yeah, I can't believe she started the show with that. I do all this fucking planning, and I'm like, oh, we need to do a professional show because I want other scientists listening to be like, oh, maybe I can come on the show.
On
And
the
of course,
top rope.
Karen just destroys all the credibility to start the show. Ernest says, I got enough problems in here. I ain't trying to go out there. Keenan says, missed opportunity. Niggas in nature more earned than Van. Raphael says, I didn't know that Dr. Wayne Grant was one of my favorite people all time until today. Subscribed. I almost went hiking after this episode. Bought tickets to the Bronx Zoo to prep me up first. Sasa Two Guns says, I did not expect to enjoy this episode as much as I did. I can't wait to catch up on Dr. Ray's podcast. I'm definitely going to look into joining Outdoor Afro. Lady Rushton says, nope. And in Texas, they make it seem like I'm the weird one. I think they forgot that Corona is out here still snatching lungs, shaking my head. Chris says, I live by a trail where a juvenile mountain lion almost killed a man running.
Oh, no.
Juvenile? Damn.
I guess not fully an adult.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is what juvenile means. What could it mean?
It's like, I'm out here fucking around.
You think
I ain't got my driver's license yet.
You thought it jumped out the woods and was like taking over for the 900 2000?
Let's go.
I say you're looking for a path, yeah.
Yes.
So I got the claws, yeah. For your balls, yeah. Like,
that type of juvenile.
about to scratch you on your face, yeah. On the place, yeah.
Yeah. If it start rapping, you really need to run.
Now I really do want a juvenile mountain lion. Just coming around fucking people up on the path.
Yes! Taking them out.
Oh no, run! It's Juvie the mountain lion. How you know it's coming? I can hear it. I can hear it coming.
Yeah.
Get out of the path.
Run, nigga, run.
Oh no.
It's not mature. It's not mature.
You're going too fast. You're going too slow.
You're going too slow.
Oh man. Anyway.
Fuck around, somebody start dancing. I don't know why you dancing.
Right. Roger.
You know what? That would be a great skit. You drop that, niggas be dancing. All of a sudden, you see the lion like dancing in the background, just slowly getting closer to him. Yeah.
Oh no, it's a juvenile mountain lion.
Yeah. It's bringing it down and shit. They don't even know they're about to get fucked up. So they turn around.
About to hit you with the paw jaws on your jaw, y'all.
Yes.
Anyway, Shoal ain't, says Roger. Langston says, the whole time Dr. Ray talked about all the time she almost died, I was like, sick emojis. Fee says, worldwide hoodie with the mask outside. That's right. And that's it for the comments on the websites and the polls and all that stuff. Of course, we have emails to check, and then of course we gotta check the voicemails as well. Voicemail line 704-557-0186 is the voicemail line. Look like we got 4 voicemails. All right, let's see what y'all had to say. That's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Rod, hey Karen, this is Iman. It's been a while. I've caught up on episodes now, but I recently found out a few weeks ago that I'm pregnant, and I've just been so sick with morning sickness, so I got behind on shows and got behind on House of the Dragon. So I've all caught up and really enjoyed the recaps. I want to thank y'all again for doing those. But I also want to tell you about this really cute exchange I had. I went and ordered food, and I was wearing one of my shirts, the one where y'all are dressed up like the king and queen of Zamunda. And the guy at the counter, he was like, "Oh, that's a dope shirt." I was like, "Oh," I got really excited. It's like, "Oh, you listen to the show?" He's like, "Oh, it's a real thing." And I told him and started gabbing about the show and how great y'all are
It's
and
a
how
real
great y'all are and all the things you do. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's what's up." And then he looked to his left and looked to his right, and he's like, "Because you always be acting like we don't tip." I was like, "Exactly,
Exactly.
that." And I just got really excited. But that was the first time like I got like a comment on my shirt from y'all, and I was like, I just got really, really excited. So it was fun. And then I'm really looking forward to when y'all ever get around to recapping The Walking Dead again.
Yeah.
I know, like, just listening to that DJ Benjamin episode, that was so great. That was such a great episode. And when y'all were on their podcast, it was such a good episode. Y'all are so funny. And I don't know why, it just makes me giddy too when people that are new to y'all and first meet y'all, they're actually like, "Oh, y'all are funny. How y'all so funny?" It just makes me happy. But that was it. Love y'all, and I hope y'all. Oh yes, and y'all definitely watch Interview with the Vampire. It's so good. But all right, love y'all. Bye bye.
Thank you, Amon. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We love to hear it. So that's beautiful, and
wishing you a safe and healthy birth.
And it is always funny when we go on like a 4-hour nerds and they do like the panel thing. I always do feel like people are kind of like surprised how funny we are. You know, I mean, Ben and Tati already know, but I always feel like people that don't know us always like, "Wait, y'all been over here being this funny the whole time?" Like, yep. We just don't bother nobody. We stay to ourselves. We don't start no shit.
We
so
stick in our lanes.
you know, you can go a long time in the podcast game without knowing what we do.
Agreed.
or hearing about it. So we're not, you know. All right, next voicemail. We got 2 from Allegra, it seems.
Hello, you two lovelies. It's
Hey.
Allegra. Hopefully this message goes through, since last time your voicemail regulator was not wanting me to be great. It's all, bitch, not today. Anyway, Rod, thank you so much for suggesting that Dahmer. Well, you didn't suggest it, but you're talking about it. And I watched it, and that episode was quite stunning. Beautifully done, and wonderfully sad. So thank you for that. And y'all, both of you, Ron and Karen, have made the House of Dragons, because I'm Black, such a joy. I mean, I was going to watch it anyway on my own time, but since you guys are covering it, I actually sort of watched it almost in real time. So thank you so much for a fantastic season. I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens.
Same.
And I can't wait for you guys to talk about it. All right. Well, love you both, and thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah, and I thought, like I said, man, I think internet pylons can get a bit out of control, and I just wanted to let people know that you don't have to listen to internet, and if you don't want to watch it, obviously don't watch it. If it's not your shit, don't watch it. But if this is the kind of thing where like you enjoyed watching like Versace or the OJ thing that Ryan Murphy did, there's a lot of good to be watched here, and it's not the way people are framing it as some callous bullshit where he didn't care about the families and stuff. I recently saw an interview where he said he reached out to the families, and before they even started like filming it, and none of them got back to him. So then what do? I guess we're not gonna do the series. Like, that's not how that works anyway. And no one, you haven't ever really needed the blessing of a family to do that before. I just feel like people are just in a big pile-on space, especially when it comes to race and Black shit. And it's easy to drum up attention by saying we not doing blank before you even seen it, before like
a lot of great shows end up getting crushed, and that's why when people are smart, they'll just turn around and just put the shit out, and they won't even tell you what it's about.
I mean, the good thing is it's Ryan Murphy and Netflix, so he ain't worried about them canceling his shit. But everything was done with intentionality and empathy. It wasn't a sensationalistic take on any of this stuff. So anyway, next voicemail is from Allegra. She called back, I believe.
I'm so silly. This is Allegra again. I just realized that I hella just blamed your guys' voicemail for my transgressions. It could have been my whack ass phone. I was probably calling up from up in the hills and my shit was cutting out. But in any case, I just wanted to get on here and say something dumb like that. Thanks, guys.
It's no big deal. I honestly didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, probably. I mean, it's Skype voicemail, so I don't know. Like, Skype was taken over by Microsoft, and it ain't been the same since. So it could be anything.
It used to be great, then all of a sudden it was like, nope.
You just never know. Next voicemail is from Simone, I believe.
Hey, Rod and Karen, this is Simone, and I'm listening to catch up, and I was just listening to episode 2626. And Rod, did you didn't sound like the ultimate advertisement for therapy when you said, I am good enough.
Because obviously it's true, but that's just not something that sometimes when people are struggling that they are able to say. So, and just the way that you address unfair criticism, I just shout out to you. Shout out to you. I was literally listening and I'm in my car and I started, yes, right? So rooting for you and everybody black. That's it. Bye.
Thank you, Sam. I know it's cutting out a little bit, but yeah, definitely, man. I think that at least that helped me, because that's one of the issues that I've dealt with, is a feeling of not being good enough. And sometimes people try to like use that against you, or kind of put you in a place of like, I have these expectations and you're not meeting them. And honestly, your expectations are not my concern.
Nope.
You know, my expectations are the ones that should matter the most to me. The people who love me, my family, my friends, maybe their expectations come after that, but it's never going to be a stranger on the internet pulling that shit on me. You know, like, the other part of it too is like, people say that kind of stuff when they don't really know what you're going through.
All right.
So, you know, and it, and very rarely is that like level of, understanding and empathy that they demand for themselves reflected back at you and given to you, you know, so it's, you know, but it's also why I stay away from like online spaces and communities in a lot of ways, because they kind of prey on those insecurities around people, and they prey on this, like, you're not good enough, you're not pandering hard enough, you're not, if you stand up for yourself, you're adding to my oppression. You have to go with my narrative or nothing else. And you know, I try to be respectful of people, empathetic of people, but I also have learned in the last 4 or 5 years to draw boundaries around myself and what I allow people to be around me and say to me. You know, this is actually not a podcast that says no criticism, no disagreement. People right up here disagreeing every time we do a feedback show. At least one person like, I didn't see it that way.
Fine.
But we're also going to be a podcast that is respectful to people. I'm not going to try to project on the people if I can help it. And if I am, I try to let people know, like, hey, maybe I'm projecting. I try to, how many times do we say shit like that when we're talking? So, at any rate though, the good thing is, you know, therapy works. It helps. It's beneficial. But up until that point, I've been pretty private about what the fuck I talk about in therapy. And it only came up because of that specific critique, and it's going right back there because that work is for me. You know, it's not like I'm doing this and I want to tell y'all what y'all need to think. You know, I'm not one of those, I said this and my therapist said that, and then I tweeted this. It's like, it's my work, it's my business, but it was germane to the topic at the time. And yeah, I recommend it for a lot of people, because I think a lot of times I see stuff from like stuff I used to do and feel that I'm like, that was me having insecurity that led me to the place. Sometimes I look back at like old Facebook posts and exchanges I had with people, and I feel like kind of low-key embarrassed. Now, the truth is I'm a human and I was where I was at that time. But sometimes I look at how I projected on the people shit that they hadn't said, like, or maybe they had a like they weren't as gung-ho about something or sure about something as I thought I was. And there's always got to be room for that, because later you might change your mind or you might learn something different. And the thing is, you can't change the past, but you can always try to be your best self in the present. And that's all you really owe anybody, especially yourself. Last voicemail, don't know who this is from, but we got 2 voicemails from him.
Hey Rod, what's going down? This Dre. First of all,
Dre,
y'all podcast is hella dope. Y'all already know that. I have to tell y'all that my homegirl O'Neal put me onto it, or else she'll hate me forever, because she's the official light-skinned ambassador of the Black Guy Who Cooks podcast. So if you ever meet her in person, she says nigga a lot. She is paid.
Oh, what happened? Hold on. Let me try it. I was trying to do something else on Skype and add his name to the fucking
to the thing.
And I guess, or maybe he got cut off. Let me see.
Black, and that's all the black people hate me forever, because she's the official light-skinned ambassador of the Black Guy Who Cooks podcast. So if you ever meet her in person, she says nigga a lot. She is pale, but she is black. So she does not owe you the 1906. A few things. First of all, you read a comment a while ago, and someone refers to Karen as the young Jeezy Atlas, and I heard you say pause when you read it, as though like maybe you have read this before. It's because you did. It's because somebody took my shit, they jocked my shit. I said that in an email a months ago, and then they gonna recycle it like it was original. It was not. It was my shit, and I need my credit. But that is not what I called in here for. What I really called in for is because I was sitting here thinking about all the Kanye and Kyrie shit, because I'm black and that's all the black people around me talk about.
Right. Yeah.
And what's blowing my mind is, of all the things that black people can take away from this, what they're not taking away from it is we should be more like Jewish people, in the sense of they don't play about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, we let Kanye play in our face about the anti-black shit and didn't do nothing about it, and made excuses for it. And then when white people made excuses for it too, or didn't say anything about it, we looked at them like, oh, so you don't give a fuck about us. So then when the Jewish people, he says something about Jewish people, and they're like, oh no, we don't fuck with that.
Right.
And then he starts losing money. They're like, see, this is proof that they only care about blah, blah, blah. That's dumb as fuck.
Right.
And I'm just so tired of hearing this shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all. I just don't understand why the point wasn't maybe we should.
He got cut off. I'm gonna play the second one, but before I get to the second one, I agree. I do agree about that. Like, there's one, we don't necessarily control the means of production, so there's a great argument for like, listen, we don't run Nike, so we couldn't shut down. We don't run Adidas, we couldn't shut down Kanye. I definitely understand that, but we do kind of control the culture, right? We do control cool in America. Black cool is a commodity. And if black people say something isn't cool, it's going to degrade the value of that thing. Now, I'm not saying we can shut it down. Like, Iggy Azalea's still out here trying to make a way out of no way, but it's completely different for her now that she don't have no black support. Mm-hmm. It's completely different. Like, you don't see her at these award shows. She ain't trending on no charts. And it's all because at some point black people went, we don't like you and it's not cool what you do. And I think that can matter. I definitely understand that we're not a monolith, but when it comes to like things that are offensive to the culture, anti-blackness is so strong and ubiquitous. There are people within blackness that make excuses for it or low-key agree with it.
All right.
And that is hard, because Jewish people would never. Like, you're never gonna find prominent Jewish people going, well, Kyrie does make some good points. Like, they're like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't look up to Hitler and shit, and part of that is also because they've been validated in a way where, like, if we find a 97-year-old Nazi today, he going to trial and going to jail. America never did that with like slave owners, Confederate war generals. So we if anything, we loved them and wanted to invite them back into the fold, which meant that black people were sold a message of there will be no consequences, there will be no justice for you. And I think so many of us have absorbed that subconsciously, that we now err on the side of we don't want consequences of justice, even when we're the people doing the infraction, because we don't always get justice for ourselves. So why would we want justice to come to any black person if it's in the form of something negative? So a lot of times make us look hypocritical, because we'll yell and shout and motherfuckers still mad at Sarah Silverman or some other white person that has an infraction, and at the same time when it comes to like Kanye or Kyrie or Ime Udoka or whatever, the first thing we pull is the like they black. I mean, people still low-key kind of do it. I know they don't mean it the same way, but I look at it the same way. The way people have reframed the Chrisette Michele shit into like she's this victim and it's forgot the willful like months-long tour of bullshit she was on.
And her people was telling her this was not smart, don't do this, and you were gun-ho to do this.
Yeah, we have empathy for her facing the consequences that she courted,
Yes, she did.
Like that was what it happened, because she was like, fucking cancel me then, bitch, or whatever, essentially. And we're still feeling bad because while we are not a monolith, we are still low-key a unit, and we all have empathy to some extent for each other. It's name a bad black person, quote unquote, and I'll show you people that are black that you respect who have empathy for them and don't feel that strongly about condemning them. Christian Walker, I know black people that feel bad because his father is Herschel Walker, and even with all the vile shit he spewed, people are still finding ways to be like, yeah, but I just feel bad for that brother. His family wasn't this and that. Candace Owens, hey, I remember Jamel Hill being like, don't talk about her hair though. It's like this woman said George Floyd, like she's putting out conspiracy theories about George Floyd. Like the least of my concerns is how the fuck she or anyone feels that she got roasted about her edges. But I don't think Jamel's a coon, but she definitely felt that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that compassion that we have for our people. Right?
It's just that we're human, and I don't think we should lose that. But I also don't blame white people for that. Like we have that, and the result is often within the culture, black people don't face the quote unquote punishment or justice that sometimes should be meted out. And a lot of that's on us. It's not like white people did that to us. We protected R. Kelly for 20 years. And not all of us, but enough people contributed to it. So that's what I think of.
Yeah, and it's also one thing about Jewish people and in the Jewish culture, they have a motto and they will repeat it, never forget.
Never forget.
And they teach their children, they teach their great-grandchildren, they shout it, and like that is literally their whole motto, because if you forget, history repeats itself, and they have a full-fledged understanding of that. But like you said, they've also come to the point where it's been acknowledged and all this stuff, things that America has not done yet. So here in America is forget. We want you to forget. We want everybody to forget. We don't want you to remember. We want to push on. We want to move on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Because as the generations go on, all of a sudden, it wasn't that bad. All of a sudden, they were happy slaves. All of a sudden, the narrative begins to change, because for us, that motto of never forget, because that's the thing, black people was on that never forget. But I'm going to keep it real. A lot of that never forget is when they said no niggas, period. We didn't care. Uppity, lower class, no niggas. Then we was like, yeah, never forget. But once it got to the point where it was quote unquote levels, or people thought there was levels to it, all of a sudden that never forget changed. And all of a sudden the intensity isn't as intense. And all of a sudden you don't need to put all that behind it because I quote unquote made it. I don't have the same struggles that my ancestors had and all these other things. And so that plays a big role and factor, particularly here in America, when it comes to black people. We're not a monolith. But there are certain things that we are unified on. And like you said before, if it was a unification and people's like, no, we're not inviting you on our shows. No, we're not inviting you on our podcast. No, we don't want you over here doing these things. There would have been a shift. No, we might not have stopped everything, but there would have been a shift, and there would have been a change, a slow change. But it's like, oh, this isn't cool anymore. So, you know, and people would have adjusted to that. And so, you know, in my opinion, you know, that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, we didn't, in the places we do control, we did not cancel these people. Mm-mm. We didn't deplatform these people. In the places we do control, we offered our spaces to have these, you know, to have Kanye come on the shows and talk about it on people's podcasts and stuff. We opened up platforms for folks. We, you know, that's the difference. They would not deal with that shit, you know. The other thing I'll say too is like the privilege of having like some level of white privilege in America, even though, you know, hardcore white supremacists don't believe Jews are white, blah blah. But in a lot of I don't mean to blah 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 that, but you know what I mean. They clearly, but in America, we give Jewish people access to white privilege in many cases, especially entertainment spaces and stuff. But it allows for a bit of what's the best word? Like not privilege, but I think security. It allows for a bit of security for them to approach this differently. Like black people, we normally respond out of anger, right? Shouting, wanting you, hurt, we want you to like we want to shut you down. The Jewish people have like an apparatus that kind of puts you into like an educational space. Like when that's why whenever somebody gets shut down over anti-Semitism, if you look at it, it's almost never immediate. It's always like, no, you kept fucking up until they had to be like, you can't do whatever it is you normally do anymore. It's almost never, it's like, come to the Holocaust Museum, meet with the ADL. Like, we don't necessarily have that specific apparatus in America. We're getting it. I think the last time someone said some racist shit, I remember someone doing the like, come to the Negro Museum in DC. And I thought, oh, maybe that'll be our thing is we start educating people. I forget who it was, like some kid or somebody said some stupid shit, and it was like, hey, come on, you know, to this. But yeah, I think that could work. But like I said, it's hard when when a vocal percentage of people are like, but this a black man and we need to protect him, or, you know, how come if he was white, he could have got, you know, that shit. And of course, this is very male centric because so much of blackness is about protecting men as far as pop culture goes.
Yes, protecting them at all costs. And it boils back down to slavery. You know, it's one of those things because it was never reconciled and all that stuff. A lot of, and for a lot of black people, and I understand they want to shut it down when it comes to certain things because they was like, nope, we have had a history with you, and every time this shit come up, y'all don't know where to draw the boundaries, so we literally have to build a wall so y'all don't come in here fucking shit up again.
He sent one more voicemail.
I was trying hard as fuck to get done without getting cut off. Anyway, my whole point was basically just, I don't know, if it's anything I from all of this is that as a community, if you don't let people play about you, then they can't play about you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. That's it, man. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for being dope as fuck, as always, providing like safe spaces for black people to exist and all of that good shit. Y'all be easy.
Thanks, Dre.
Thank you, baby.
Appreciate the phone call. And yeah, I mean, listen, it's tough out here for these white folks now.
When did racism against white people become okay?
When?
When?
But look what they dealing with. Okay, they dealing with this racism against themselves. All right, let's get into the emails. Mandy writes in, dear Rod and Karen. Rod, when you talked about that person who sent that fat phobia email, you made excellent sense and points on a lot of things that I teared up when you said I'm good enough. I'm overweight, and I'm glad to hear that I'm not alone with the issues of being overweight, and I'm astounded that a man is talking about this matter because we associate weight problems and worries with women.
Right.
The body positivity, quotes, movement, I do not pay attention to that because I just live my life my way, and I thought it was more than just about weight and size, but I digress. I just think people expect fat people to be depressed and wallow in sorrow and woe is me, victim mentality.
Yes, they do.
People like that person that email you, try to tell you about yourself in a condescending manner, are just doing that for clout and have their own insecurities that need to be worked on. That's all, Mandy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think also anger is sadness that has no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you come at people with the kind of like snideness that is I associate with a lot of the movement, at least online, and a lot of the online movements, it's not just this movement, a lot of these online movements kind of eventually turn into like meanness, because you're fighting people that are mean, right, all the time, because a lot of people that are like really heavily pushing like anti-fat shit is mean, concern trolling people, or people that have a mean inner voice about their own bodies and they're sharing it with the world and by association putting it out there for everybody else. And this is probably the Gen X in me, but I'm tough. I'll be fine. I'm not here to convince you how to feel about my body.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not here to change the way you feel about your body. And if you, that's a fight you're gonna have to fight with yourself. I'm not trying to get into it with you about it. Everyone's in their own state. We've watched the mentality change over the years, so it isn't even like well, we've always felt this way. A lot of times it's like, actually, this is fairly new. We have not, and it could change. We can come back 5 years from now and be like, that was the wrong way to handle it. But yeah, the main thing is just like the assumptions and the condescension. I can do without. That's all. Like, talk to me nice, I'll talk to you nice, and we can call it even. I'm still a Libra, and I'm gonna always balance the scales. And I might not be team petty, but I'm definitely not able to be petty. I just didn't want to, like, I still wanted to respond in a fair way and not degrade down to just being mean for no reason. But I just wanted to stand my ground, and I think a lot of people identify with what I was saying. And just some of the comments in there were so, to me, uncalled for. Like, they are fighting for you. Like, what? This ain't Martin Luther King. And like I said, the main thing for me is having been online enough to see what that quote unquote work looks like. It's not work that I feel like is representative of or for me. Like, some of the stuff they do, I get and I can agree with. Some of the shit I can see is self-aggrandizement. Buy my book, come to my space, come to my spaces or whatever. Like subscribe to me, Venmo me. All right, man, you don't need my help with that part. Almost a family affair. This is from Carrington. Hey, Rod and Karen, I just had to write in because, like I said before, my whole family listens to the podcast. Started with my dad, then my brother, and then me. And it helped bring my family together even more with the addition of my new stepdad. I saw him walking around in a blackout tip shirt, and I knew he would be a good match for my mom, since he could vibe with my brother and me based on that alone. Oh, what? The only one I have left to get on the train is my mom, but she would probably just have to get with the program through osmosis, since she doesn't listen to podcasts. I hope I can update you guys when the whole family is listening. I appreciate all you guys do, and I always look forward to new episodes that help me get through my day. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
That is so dope. What a small world. If your whole family listens to the show, it's got to be a great family. Julie writes in, sending you both love. Hi, Rod and Karen. This is not conventional feedback, just some unconditional love. This grind of translation, expression, and production, all of it in the service to your passions and gifts, and our joy is wonderful. And it can also get weary. You both give so much and have been unwavering in your work ethic. I'm grateful for you because y'all are a blessing. And so I find myself willing for you that you may be replenished by this life you draw from in order to give to us. I was so excited to hear that you're going to the games and that Karen's going to see Tabitha Brown the other day. In the balance that has been the pandemic blocking access to outer life and leaning into our inner reserves, please know that my prayer for you is that the joy you clearly receive from your prolific work may be restored by the joys that do not involve having to address too many antagonistic and would-be usurpers of life's pleasures. Sitting down myself for a sabbatical after years of doctoring and hospital horrors of the pandemic, I just wanted you both to know how meaningful your work has been to me. Whatever sabbatical treats you can get outside of small doses, may they come to you pressed down, shaken together, and running over, as the homie and the street therapist Jesus said, all about giving ourselves what we need. I'm sending you a prescription for high-grade, concentrated, uncut peace wrapped in love, and a recommendation for more fun than the law allows, yet can't do nothing to stop you if you choose to indulge safely. I respect and appreciate you too immensely. Thank you for your presence in this world, for showing up as yourselves, showing out, and that not only are you both enough, but that we're endowed with the rights and riches to trust that we're enough to and are free to add to that abundance. Julie. Wow.
Oh, thank you, baby.
That was nice.
Oh,
put that on. You should be right for Hallmark or something. But yeah, thank you. And yeah, I mean, look, that's the other thing I'll say too, is like, I try not to be moved too much to anger and stuff on here, and I try to ration out, I think we typically have really great fans and stuff. So the thing I will say is, like, just because I allow myself to show like, hey, this thing bothered me, and there's also nothing wrong with that. I think as long as it doesn't violate, like, at least the tenets I hold myself to, like, I'm not gonna be up here, you motherfucker, I'm not gonna be up here like that. But emotion is okay, and I wasn't like tired or mad or exhausted or anything after. It's like, here's how I feel. I'm passionate about how I feel. I'm not gonna disrespect you, but I'm passionate about how I feel, and I've thought about how I feel, and then the ball's in the listener's court. Because one thing I try not to do is get too attached to our listeners. I love our listeners, but I try not to get too attached, man. I don't assume anybody listens to the show forever, and
I don't assume that you listen every day either.
Yeah, and I don't think that the people rooting for me need to constantly listen. I don't think there's people that listen and probably tune in just for whatever they want to get out of it, and they dip, and that's okay too.
Right. Because me and Logic has said this, and we've said this a while ago. We want you to be at wherever your home is, and we've had people over the years where their home was here and then their home was somewhere else, and that's okay too.
And I'm fine with the fact that at the end of the day, our show and what we do is kind of a product for people. Like, it's not a personal relationship, and so when it's not serving them, they're gonna dip out or they're gonna fall back or whatever. And I prefer they do that than rather than right up here lecturing us or we've had people fall out with the show before and stuff, or try to become like publicly whatever. Like, it's easier to handle it by just being like, all right, cool, I'm out. And I like I said, I have tremendous respect for the people that can do that.
Right.
Caretha writes in, dear Rod and Karen, I hope this message finds you well. I'm dropping a quick note because it was cool to see and hear Dr. Lisa Woolfolk on the Blackout Tips. She and I go way back, having come through the profession as scholars of African-American literature at roughly the same time. We were on a panel together years ago when I was presenting early ideas about Michelle Obama that eventually made it into From the Slave Cabins to the White House. I'll admit, I was jealous when I first saw the email alert about y'all going live with her. I was like, she gets to talk to my Charlotte homies way longer than I ever have. But that soon faded as I enjoyed learning that many directions her interests have taken her. I knew about Stitch Please, sorry, the comment threw me off. I knew about Stitch Please, but because she started posting monthly on IG in recent years, I guess I lost track of the momentum it has been picking up. And anything related to Game of Thrones completely lost on me. So hearing all of that was definitely new. She's been teaching classes on it for years. Wow. Anyway, it was so cool to see some of my faves together. It's always good to learn something new, which I definitely did. Glad to be on this journey with the Blackout Tips Nation. Always something unexpected and delightful.
Thank you. The world is small.
It really. This is a small, like this episode here. Just feel like everybody know each other.
Right.
Families listening together.
It's a family affair.
Hello and thanks always. Hi, Karen and Rod. I thought it good to switch it up. Great week as usual. Love to talk with DJ Ben Amin. It's been great. Great time to see comics I grew up with get their accurate due, and with more diversity in the production room. Casting has also made the films and shows even more worth seeing. I wonder when the new Black Panther will get to Japan. this country's film industry until streaming had mostly stayed focused on white Hollywood. But Netflix and Disney Plus have forced a change, which is always a good thing. You guys made me very hyped to see Wakanda Forever. Thank you. It says, sorry, my last writings seemed nonsensical. I was trying to explain a few thoughts in a short space, and it came out that way. Here's the definite Dracarys article, in my opinion, but I look forward to you two saying your piece. White nurse accuses black pregnant woman of fraud in horrifying viral video. Okay, I'll save this for fucking with black people, and we may get to it next time we play that game. All right, let's get to the next. Jay says, greetings, Queen Karen and King Rod. Just want to take a minute to say hello and show my appreciation for all the years of laughter and thought-provoking conversation. I really, really love what you do, and I'm so glad I heard Rod on Twib sometime in 2016, and I've been on board ever since. Plus, I migrated over to all the affiliates like Three Guys On, Keith and the Girl, The Mind of Dom, and so on forth. I'm a fan of the entire The Blackout Tip cinematic universe. Specifically wanted to say thank you for your coverage of the great Kanye, Kyrie, and every other dim motherfucker anti-Semitic hullabaloo of 2022. I'm Jewish, non-religious, but ethnically I'm Ashkenazi. The most common Jewish ancestry in the U.S. Think white European Jews. I've been really sad, angry, and disappointed. Karen's voice.
Yes.
To see so many of these YouTube conspiracy theorists, street corner blowhards promoting all kinds of wild shit, ranging from Holocaust denial to just straight up telling me I'm not Jewish because black people are the real Jews. Like you said, Rod, BHI was always so friends, the Black Israelites. The first time I ran into them, they explained to me that I was a fraudulent Jew from the damn tribe of Esau. I was like, all right, player, you got it, and kept it moving because it seemed like such an inconsequential weirdo cult, right? And here's the thing, man. Like, I don't know if people have been covering. I know a couple of these stories have made the news, but I think because it was black people and because they weren't able to like kill a lot of people, but there's been some murders from black Israelites in the past couple years since Trump has been in office, where they like killed some Jewish people or tried to kill Jewish people before. And yeah, man, this shit is dangerous to play with.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Like, it used to just be a weirdo thing that you go, my homie is into this, and then you just kind of roll your eyes at him and you ask him how much is a dime bag, and you move the fuck on. Mm-hmm. That Black Hebrew Israelite stuff is funky, and so much of it I've seen is dipped in anti-Semitism and anti-blackness. Mm-hmm. However, Stephen A. voice, I really don't care what someone believes religiously. For real, believe whatever you like. It's possible to do that and not be hateful and ignorant towards me and my ancestors. Right. One of the main homies at work for years was in the Black Hebrew Israelite faith, and he never said anything sideways to me. One's religions, even if it's fringe and wild, does not mean you gotta be an asshole towards others. I agree. And also, like, I'm probably also Gen X thing. I'm not of the belief we can like undo and fix everybody that's racist. That's not even the goal. I just want you to leave me alone. The law does not dictate your mind, but it can say like, hey, leave me the fuck alone.
That's all I want. As long as you do that, okay.
But this unchecked alternate reality of social media driven conspiracy theories that so many people seem to be utterly locked into has produced conditions that are just perfect for the wildest of the Black Hebrew Israelite based anti-Semitism to spread. To be honest, Karen got that third eye open now. It feels like a half of this shit is Russian bots or white supremacists or whomever, just trying to further push apart Jews and black people. I've always accepted a base amount of anti-Semitism because it's always been there and it's always going to be there. I've always struggled about it because I'm white, male, and I have an Anglo last name. So I have the maximum amount of privilege available in this country. Plus, plenty of Ashkenazi brethren are racist as hell off that white privilege, even though we should really know better. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, that's the other thing, too, that people try to use is like, but it's racist Jewish people. It's like, it's racist every group, and it shouldn't excuse the racism in another group.
Right.
Like, you still shouldn't be racist. Both because can exist. Yeah. Like, there's some anti-black Asian people out there. It's like, that's cool. Also, stop Asian hate.
Right.
What's so hard about that? I think for that reason, I always gave a bit of a pass to light anti-Semitism or ignorant jokes from the black folks in my life. But it feels kind of different now after Kyrie. It seems like the people spouting the BHI talking points aren't religious at all and have some super dangerous anti-Semitic ideas masquerading as black empowerment to defend Kyrie, who has convinced everyone he is a victim of racism or for exposing the truth about the Jews. My oldest friend who is black is on this shit now, and I'm hurt and disappointed. I'm going to have a conversation with him about it, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not exactly thrilled to be in a position of privilege and trying to tell him why it's dangerous and disrespectful. But more than my hurt feelings and discomfort, I love my friends. He's out here fucking up, and I got to tell him that. Yep, right. That's what it is.
Right. That means we lose a friendship. It is what it is. Like sometimes people aren't willing to draw those lines, and they will back down versus being like, "Hey, this is wrong," and me telling you this is more important than to have you being ignorant. And if you're going to still continue to be ignorant, I can't have you around me.
I think it also just illustrates that point, right, of that we're talking about when it's the gray area. Because here you are, a white man with privilege in America who is Jewish, talking to a black man who will be like, I don't have privilege, so I should be able to say whatever I want. Don't tone police me. This is my experience. And when you say, but you're delving in anti-Semitism and it is bad and wrong, there's a lot of people you won't be able to reach because they're going to pull the I'm black, how dare you talk to me, white man.
Right.
And you hope that it's not something a friend would do. You would hope a true friend would be able to be like, well, if I'm hurting my friend, let me at least think about it. But when you brought up the part about the online stuff, that part is so true because a lot of the Black Hebrew Israelite stuff has intersected with just plain old anti-Semitism from conservative spaces and online like bot farms and Russian trolls and shit. And so a lot of people for the last few years, as they sat online and delved into conspiracy theories and gotten lost in the like culture wars, a lot of them are going to be sitting around like, I learned more hateful stuff about Jewish people from the coded language of globalist or whatever it is that they're listening to on these podcasts and OAN and all this shit. So you're going to have people that have now combined that white anti-Semitism with this black form of anti-Semitism, creating a more virulent variant of fucking variant of anti-Semitism. And I think Kyrie is falling deep into that. I don't think that's what happened with necessarily with Kanye, but who knows how online he is,
right?
But all of this feels like the coast is clear. We can be anti-Semitic together now. In summary, I just really appreciate that you all understand this and speak on it. Everything I see online and most of what I hear in my daily life is so disappointing and saddening and disrespectful of the experiences of my ancestors. Every conspiracy theory has a logical conclusion, and that conclusion is always it's the Jews, or the Jews have a weather machine. Shout out to Andrew Klein. Therefore, any spread of any conspiracy theory is going to increase anti-Semitism, which is like smoldering coals that can be whipped up into a wildfire at any time with a strong wind. Right. I'm worried and I'm angry and I'm disappointed, but I love you guys for making me feel seen. I understand how ridiculous, stupid, disrespectful, and dangerous that all is.
It is.
Best wishes, Jonathan H.
Thank you, baby. It is.
Here's the last thing I'll say about that in this email. It's also because I think for me, I didn't grow up that religious. And a lot of the black Israelite thing is looking to be special and working backwards. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of black people who do not feel that just being a quote unquote regular black person descended from the slaves in America, they'll say our history don't start with slavery. Like they're very adamant about that. It's because they need to feel something special, a special connection. And there's no better special connection than the one in the Bible for God's quote unquote chosen people, the Jewish people. So if we can say Jewish people aren't Jewish, black people are the real Jews, black people are the chosen people of God. And meanwhile, you look at the history of the chosen people of God, God be letting them suffer. Okay. I don't choose me. Okay.
Ooh,
choose one of these
go through a lot.
Like the unchosen motherfuckers is prospering, ain't they? Anyway, but
they out here partying.
But because of that insecurity through oppression, anti-blackness, racism that we've experienced, we looking outside of ourselves for a validation that is special and co-opting other stories. It's why so much of, you can look at the black people in America and see most of us are from like Western Africa, and yet you look at like the Hotep, Black Israelite function, a lot of their worshiping of blackness starts with like Egypt. Now, why would that wouldn't even make sense? We're not, most of us are not Egyptian. That wouldn't even like, even if you searched our DNA, it wouldn't make sense. And yet we need to feel that level of like, we was pharaohs, like shit. It's just a sad testament of white supremacy and religiosity, in my opinion. Kyrie, Hotep, and Hot Stuff. But KJ says, what up, K-Rod? Been a wild time hearing all this Black Hebrew Israelite stuff, servicing a polite and civilized society. Thanks a lot, Kyrie. This nigga. I saw Boycott the NBA trending with their little 3K tweets and was like, Kyrie got Hotepery out here feeling like Morty's Rick. Damn, look at this. I'm blowing up. 3 new voicemails. I did not have regular non-Hotep folks caping for Black Hebrew Israelite BS on my nigga bingo card at all. Wild times. I try to lead with empathy, knowing that at one point in our history, the most militant pro-Black thing we could do was paint the people in our Bible stories in blackface and claim it as ours. But come on, fam. We 22 years into the Will Smith's new millennium. Can we update our Black militant manifesto? Shaking my head. In addition to being anti-Semitic, the shit is just dumb, head tilting, hands clasped. You poor baby. Bless your heart. Flat earther dumb. Even more heartbreaking is anti-Black. Yeah, that's the one for me, is anti-Black. I have a tweet that's going viral right now that's essentially me saying, like, I'm proud to be Black in America. I'm proud to be from a people that survived the immense oppression that our people faced. I'm proud to be of that bloodline of people that were able to survive and thrive. I don't need anything else. I don't need a backstory of kingness or royalty, whether it's in my bloodline or not. I don't need it. I'm proud of the people that walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. You know, I'm proud of the people that survived the not just slavery, but like the civil rights movement era, the, you know, lynching. Like, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of that. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't looking for a new thing, and I don't need to be God's chosen people. And that maybe it's because I just don't traditionally believe in like God and stuff in the way that people do. But I don't need that fiction, because a lot of it is religious fiction, you know. And they try to turn it into like, no, we're just talking about DNA and talking about, I mean, everyone come from Africa, but it's like, no, that's not what you're really saying. What you're really saying is the God part of it, the special part of it. You want to feel special. And Jewish religion and the idea of Jews in the Bible has been treated as special. So you want to co-opt that. I don't need that. You know, I already feel like I'm from a special place and with special people. I already feel like, you know, my people have survived a bunch of trials and tribulations and hardships. Let's see. This need for us to be anything other than what we are, a new beautiful thing, a phoenix rising from the ashes and horrors of slavery, the innovators of everything dope that has shaped this culture in this country and therefore the world for generations. Are they for real? Come on, man. Hold up. We them boys. Last time I checked, Moses sandals and the ancient Judean desert robes and shit ain't moving the needle out here. Fuck out of here. Anyway, love hearing y'all nerd out this week. As a kid, when I took a trip from Israel and visited my estranged dad in Boston, he had boxes and boxes of Marvel comics, and the Onslaught saga is a rabbit hole I got my life falling down into. Never even got to finish it though. Y'all had me in the awe observing how your presence impacted the Castle Black episode. Karen, you was in your bag. The joke, y'all, White Walker gentrification, Dragon Amazon, unpaired this Dragon Bluetooth, the nuance, damn, too good. God damn it, done typed the book. Sorry, Rod, I ain't even gone. KJ, thanks, KJ.
Thank you.
Marissa writes in. Hey, Marissa. She says, baby. Oh man, just want to send a quick email to say I love the episode with Dr. Ray. Not at all what I expected on a regular TBGWT episode, but a welcome surprise. Dope to hear the convos around black folks and nature like I haven't heard in other spaces. Everyone needs to check out her podcast. Her love for the animals got me crying real thug tears. Y'all always had the best guests, but say no one ever comments, so I'm putting my note in. P.S. No pressure. But if y'all do another lip smacking good soon, I would love to hear a holiday episode. What y'all getting into in the season of eating and drinking? Y'all are the bomb as always, bringing premium content, and almost tweeted y'all that photo that's been going around of the full condom with the straw. What is that? But it felt a little too much like Rod's Kyrie joke. Love y'all as always, Reese. I don't even. Now I need to see the fucking picture because I don't know what it means.
Me either. What is happening?
John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. The look on your faces when Dr. Wayne Grant was talking about tree leeches was absolutely priceless. What a great interview and a guest. Just wanted to add one other group that people might want to check out. Black Center Outdoor Stuff, Black Girls Trekking is out here in Los Angeles, and they look like a great group. Rod, what you said about the toxicity of body positive movement and many other movements is so true. When the Will Smith thing happened, I knew so many non-black women who were traumatized, but couldn't really talk about it because they knew they would get roasted for doing so. Ignoring the fact that while they might not have the same reasons as black women, they still have valid reasons to be sad and upset.
Right.
Like, does anybody really think that white, Latina, Asian American women don't also have tons of experience with their men doing toxic masculinity displays up to and including violence at public places? They see this shit all the time at bars, parties, little league games, PTA meetings, etc. Women of every demographic are embarrassed, saddened, and sick of that shit, ruining what is supposed to be a fun event. That aspect is really a men problem. But there couldn't really be any conversation about that because it was so hyper focused on only the aspects that were specific to black women, which of course need to be talked about too. Anyways, it seems like one of the challenges of intersectional feminism and social justice is that conversations often get so siloed and focused on stuff that is exclusive to one identity that we miss out on larger discussions with opportunities for solidarity with other groups.
Right.
It's ironic because when real systemic change actually happens, it's usually as a result of coalitions and messaging that brings people together. The reality is that body positivity or any movement will only succeed when it can get people outside of it on board. Yeah, you know what's funny is like, one, body positivity, everyone has a body. So you would think that would immediately put us all in the group together, right? But secondly, I remember when that happened and there would be like anybody that had anything to say that wasn't Will Smith should have killed Chris Rock or Chris Rock deserved to be slapped the end. It wasn't just you can't say that. It was like you're racist somehow. To feel that this violence is traumatic in any way. And it's such a weird denial and defense. And it's the kind of thing where like, as much as people say they hate white feminism, a lot of these spaces imitate white feminism, which is like the problem with a lot of white feminism is like white women want to be the sole only narrative and the only people that matter and the only people that get to talk. And instead of people going, well, intersectional feminism should be, we all get a chance to talk and we all have them. It's like, no, intersectional feminism should be a different person gets the podium and only they're allowed to talk. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's so short-sighted because it's not necessarily intersectional. Intersectional is like a lot of shit is happening at the same time. It's not intersectional as in what now you get to dominate everybody else. And so I think that's kind of a weird mentality in the first place, but a lot of these movements end up taking that on. It's only at my feelings matter and you need to shut the fuck up. And I think it's not something I want to be part of.
Right. And it's also one of those things to where when you look at it, it's like mimicking is not the purpose. The purpose is to quote unquote be better. But a lot of times we realize if we mimic it, we'll quote unquote we want the same results, and it's not gonna happen. But that's the purpose of it. We want the same results. We want the same privilege. Right. We want to be able. But you know that system is broken. So why don't you create something new instead of mimicking something that you know is already problematic and leave people out?
Right. And like I said, I respected people feeling differently. I respected people that felt validated on some level, but just because you feel a certain way doesn't make it facts and doesn't excuse shit. And it, once again, it just kind of became the internet pile-on thing that just things keep becoming. And I thought it really lost the plot when like somebody like a Wanda Sykes or Amy Schumer, who's friends with Chris Rock and were there at the event, couldn't even say they were traumatized by it. I think that's crazy. I think you sound ridiculous when you say that. I just, it's like if me and Karen were at dinner and somebody got shot, and then we were like, oh my God, somebody got shot for, I don't know, whatever reason, a reason that justifies people being shot in your mind. And then you go, well, you're not allowed to be traumatized after seeing somebody get shot because that person deserved to be shot. And you're like, that's not how trauma works. You know, not to mention the amount of people that got trauma in their lives that you know, they would have been reliving through this shit. Like, it was just a lot.
Yeah, and also what I've realized, and this is me on the outside, and back to this is me projecting, there's something broken within people.
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel like there's something broken within people when you see something like this and your response is they deserved it. And then not only that, your response is, I don't want to hear anything contrary to that. And your response is also to go attack people. And your response is also to go harass people and fight with people online. There's something broken within you.
Imagine you can be traumatized by a TV show or a movie, but a person can't be traumatized by actual violence that happened in their face.
Right.
To a person they know and love. It never made sense. And I think you're right that there's something broken within people, and it's becoming it's really becoming out of control because social media is allowing people to group up and turn their trauma into reality. And we think of just like this kind of shit, but I think on another level, that's what QAnon is. That's what that's what January 6th ended up being. That's what a lot of this MAGA shit is. It's people who have traumas in other areas, whether it be like, you know, the way that the American dream has been sold to them, whether it be class shit, whether it be, but whatever their personal issues are, their dissatisfaction, enough of them group up, and it's like we create our own reality. And it is now the fault of Jews, or it's now the fault of women, or it's now, you know, it's just like, I'm not saying what you went through doesn't matter at all, but this isn't a healthy way to deal with it. And what it's becoming is really just a group of mean girl shit, as opposed to like, you know, any actual philosophy, therapy, whatever.
Right. And also it's one of those things where you group up a lot of broken people looking to be whole, and it's just a lot of brokenness and nobody's actually attempting to be whole. And so it's just going to be scattered pieces, and those pieces go every which direction.
Because whole takes work.
Yes, it does.
And it takes work that you really can't do with, in a lot of cases, you can't really do when the person that's leading the thing is as fucked up as you. If Judge Pinky does get her own show, they need to have the first case be the "Do you know what perjury is, lady?" Imagine that mess. Yeah, I would love that.
Are we done?
Right. Are we done here? P.S. After years of hearing your recommendation, 2022 is the year I finally explored and became a fan of Kanye's music and urged my white friends to check it out along with the documentary. Well, don't I have egg on my face? LOL. Cheers and stay safe, John. Yeah, well, you know, that's the cost. That's the price of being a fan. Now you need to go out and defend Kanye at all costs.
Don't you do?
Because you part of it. You part of the Kanye hive now. Don't let us down.
Don't you listen to him?
I mean, that's a thing. I'll never live in this. That's another weird reality thing I don't like. Yes, he had classic banger albums.
Right. We can't erase that. Yeah. We live in a society now where you fuck up and everybody want to erase your work like nothing that you did prior to that moment matters.
Like if the albums were full of White Lives Matter, then I obviously would not listen to them or think they were dope. But he wasn't on that shit. And then one day he was. And I haven't listened to his newest albums to even know what he's saying on there.
Same.
It's like the new Drake. I'm just like, I ain't heard nothing but problems. I think I'm gonna avoid this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last email that we have. Rodrin, and this is from Dre. You said, this is Dre again. I already left a voicemail, but I just can't stop thinking about this stupid ass Kyrie Kanye drama. I think my biggest issue truly is that I hate to see so many other black men defend what is essentially hate speech disguised as being pro-black. The original premise that black people have some lineage to Hebrew people may be true and alone is a hate speech, but when you couple it with the Holocaust didn't happen and Jews are evil and run the world, you lose people pretty fucking quick. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like I haven't cared to explore the validity of, since we all come from Africa, the original Jews must have been black, and then there was maybe that's what the great replacement theory is, I don't know, but like then some coordinated thing happened to where white people replaced the real original black people as Jews, and now we don't, the only people that know that are this 5% of black Hebrew Israelites that or whatever. And like, it has always felt ridiculous because it's still couched in this, to me, religiosity of I need to be special and attached to something, and skip past Africa and go all the way back to Israel somehow. And it's just I don't need it. Mm-hmm. I don't need it. And it's always attached. It's never just that. I think if it was just that, you'd have less pushback.
Right.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Amari Stoudemire, there's a video of him kind of talking about, because he's a black person that converted to Judaism. And he kind of talks about the African roots, and it doesn't really seem to be a problem with him saying that. Okay. And he's an advocate. He disagrees with Kyrie. And so maybe there's some validity to that. I've just never seen a person say just that. They always turn it into, and the white man is evil, and Jewish people secretly control the earth, and they worship the devil, and the white people are the devil, and a bunch of shit that sounds like it came out of a fucking comic book. I'm sorry. I can't respect that. And I don't want to be involved in the hate that it creates, man. Jewish people got it bad enough.
Right.
Why the fuck do we need to be part of people contributing to that?
That doesn't make sense.
As far as the NBA suspending Kyrie, I feel like that's consistent with the NBA claims to represent. These motherfuckers acting like it's a bunch of white players who say nigga all day, who Adam Silver has been mysteriously silent on. Yeah, the black man defend black men at all costs shit never makes sense. It's always inconsistent. Because it's essentially just, the truth of it is, we want to say we would like white male privilege, and we would like to dominate from our podium. And it's one of the reasons that when I sense it in other movements and groups, I'm out.
Yes, sir.
Because I see where it leads, and if I don't stomach the shit for black men, I'm not stomaching it for anybody.
Right.
Like, I like stand up, be righteous, demand justice and da. The second you start demanding, like, well, kind of, I want privilege. Yes. I kind of want to be able to be my version of racist, and I want a soft landing for me. Well, okay, that's different than what you were claiming to represent. Like, you can feel that way, but that shit don't act like that's pure, and I don't give a fuck what group you're in. Listen, when a black woman is transphobic, it's different from me. As a black woman, we need to do, it's like, I hear what you're saying, but understand that ain't equality or justice either. That's just you picking your fave.
Right.
And to white people, that's what they've been doing, is picking their fave. They see it the same way you see your group, because that's their group. Their affinity group is whiteness. So they see I'm not getting rid of my Republican friends and family just because they voted for Trump. They see it the same way you see your aunt that you ain't getting rid of because she's homophobic. So if you have a little bit more perspective and empathy, you would hope that leads to a little bit more understanding of the predicament people are in, but instead it's just rooting for your group in a different fashion. And I find that to be the weakest shit, because like I said, when I see black men do that shit, I've seen it turn out terrible. You know what I mean? When I've seen black people do that shit for whatever person is out of pocket, it just typically seems to enable that person into higher and higher and bigger platforms. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it. But yeah, this fake ass, like, I bet, because that's another thing, a fake theoretical. I bet if a white player was saying nigga, Adam Silver wouldn't care. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but that statement makes no sense.
What are you talking about? Miles Leonard said some shit. I ain't seen this man play basketball since. He was on Call of Duty talking some racist. They got his white ass out the league like he was never in there. He'll be the answer to a motherfucking trivia question in 2028.
Jeopardy question.
You know, like this, that it's not. It's just we're creating fake straw man shit so we can defend Kyrie against himself. Just keep it to yourself. Shut the fuck up. It's all giving me a headache, and I can't ignore it because I hear so much of it from people I know and love personally, but damn, it's exhausting. Thanks for giving me a space to vent. I'm done for real this time. Love you guys. Peace, Dre. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank God that I guess in a way that Kendrick caught COVID and started to question Kyrie, because you know he could have been one of these people listening to him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. That's it, man. Thanks for listening. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back.
Gifts.
We got gifts. Hold on, Karen. I'm gonna get the gifts. Why don't you talk about it for a second?
No problem. We thank you for everybody. You're not obligated to, but we have like
done.
What?
What? I mean,
I didn't finish my comments.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. We have a wish list for those of you that actually was like, well, I love Rod and Karen and I want to do go above and beyond. You're not obligated to, and you don't have to. And this is always in the show notes. And you can go to the website to find out our mailing address if you want to mail us something.
Yeah, and I would like our wish list is from Amazon, so I know some people feel a way about that, and you know, I'm sorry, but
it's just the most convenient.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother to go create
Jordan,
some new shit that's gonna get their shit from Amazon.
Yeah,
slavery with most steps. You know, I get how
I'm not
I
joining
get
nobody's extra stuff. I'm lazy.
Yeah, I don't really fuck with Bezos, but the packages do be getting here hella fast.
Yes,
okay,
they do.
All right, I'm with y'all.
I feel you.
I hate slavery.
All right, we got a card from Professor Woolfolk.
Thank you.
And it's got the Iron Throne on the front.
Oh,
I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yes.
Okay. And it says the 7 kingdoms are yours. And on the inside, it opens into the Iron Throne.
Oh.
Yeah, and she put a sticker of us with the Wakanda. I don't know if y'all can see this back in the back. I mean, not Wakanda with the Coming to America. It's got the 7-pointed star back there.
Yes, I see some more stickers on there too.
Yeah. Black women Stitch stickers. They're all shiny and glossy. And it says, hi, Rod and Karen. Thank you so much for having me on the Blackout Tips. Had a blast. I wish you both continued success. And Karen, there's a big sewing event coming to Charlotte in 2024. We should connect. Smiley face.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much, Professor. And then we got this. That's an Amazon package. I imagine something from our wish list.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. I didn't open it up.
Yeah, I did. We haven't opened it up. It's brand new to us.
So everybody gonna be shocked and surprised together.
Hopefully they included like a thing with your name on it, because that thing that we thought was a mask,
it was some earrings. Thank you so much. They are adorable.
And they don't say who it's from.
No, they don't. And the earrings were made from Africa. Thank you so much, baby.
Okay, now this has 2 gift bags in it. Oh, you spent the money. You must be from Spotify. You spent the gift wrap money?
You spent the gift wrap money.
There's a note. Rod and Karen, send a little something off your wish list to thank you for your hard work and dedication with delivering the best House of the Dragon reviews. Loved every second of them. Hope these keep your drinks Dracarys from Asia D. All right, let's open it up and see what's in there. You want to open one?
Yes.
And I'll open one. Open the top here. These Amazon things are always cool because you don't gotta like rip off the paper and shit. All right, so I open this up, and
I like this. I love these little bags.
Yeah, and you can reuse them too.
I save these bags. I do.
Oh, it's Mr. Coffee mug warmer. Thank you. Okay, keep that coffee hot and piping. That's what piping hot. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I appreciate you. Can't wait to warm up this coffee.
Ooh, I'll use mine for tea.
Yeah, Karen's a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker, but it don't listen.
To serve the same purpose.
Mr. Coffee ain't gotta know shit. Okay, it's our business.
Mr. Coffee ain't got to know I'm using it for tea.
Yeah, you can put your flashlight on it. I don't give a fuck. It's my business in my house now. All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. We should have like 4 episodes this week because I think we got
a game.
We got a sponsor.
Okay.
So there may be an episode where I put something out from behind the paywall. Okay. But it'll have the sponsor read ad in it. Mm-hmm. So y'all may get 4 episodes. You might get 3. I know we got a basketball game to go to this week. Mm-hmm. So, but thank you and go vote.
Go vote. Go if your state allows you to early vote. Go early vote. If your state does not allow you to early vote, make arrangements, get the babysitter, drag your kids, whatever it takes. Go vote because this election is more crucial than people are playing it up. I don't care what the polls say. I don't care what online told you. I don't care what your grandma, uncle's cousin, that bullshit. Take your ass to the polls and vote.
Yep. All right, y'all. That's it. Until next time. I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.
Mwah.